What's up, guys? We are back. Now, first of all, shout outs to Resident Evil 4 on the Nintendo GameCube. This is the gameplay footage you're seeing here with the controller there showing and the logo and everything, and the original aspect ratio of the game running as intended. Now, if you haven't had a chance to play the original version of Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube, I highly suggest you do so as soon as possible. Play with the original controller and you will not be disappointed. You may not know this, but the control scheme for Resident Evil 4 was designed specifically for the Nintendo GameCube controller originally, and it feels just amazing. It feels like coming home, basically. I know everyone swears by the Wii version, but quite honestly, the game plays a lot differently on the Wii than it does on the GameCube, and the way that GameCube controller was designed to work with this game and the aspect ratio of the game and everything just is absolutely perfect. So go ahead and go back and play Resident Evil 4 when you have a chance. So of course, as we're going to be talking about in this video, we're going to be talking about Resident Evil 2 Remake on the Nintendo Switch. And this was actually my game of the show, E3 2018. And I know I didn't mention this before in my other videos because Sony's press conference didn't even show really much of Resident Evil 2 Remake until later on during the week when they had some live play sessions with it, and there's a bunch of gameplay footage on YouTube that other YouTubers have put who had access to the game behind closed doors. Some of the higher, 500,000, 800,000, a million subscriber YouTubers have access to those behind the scenes looks for Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Spider-Man, of course, games like that. So since this was my game of the show at E3 2018, I really wanted to have a Nintendo Switch port of this game since it's coming to all the other systems except for the Nintendo Switch, as far as we know right now, that is. And there was an interview with Capcom brand manager at E3 by Game Rant, and they were discussing Resident Evil 2 Remake, various aspects about the game, and whether or not the Nintendo Switch could be getting a port of the game. And you know my stance on ports and how developers word their speech in regards to how games are being ported or not ported to the Switch, giving hope or giving not hope to the Switch. So I want to say do proceed with caution with getting your hopes up for this game coming to the Switch. However, the wording here does in fact leave the opportunity or the door open to a future port for the Nintendo Switch. They are not ruling it out 100% to come to the system, and we have seen this happen before where developers have said no, not at this time, or no, we're not going to be focusing on that at the moment, things like that. And that's exactly what Capcom brand manager Mike Loon at E3 said to Game Rant. They asked him if the Nintendo Switch version of Resident Evil 2 Remake could be coming later down the line. He said, no, not at this time. We just wanted to focus on PS4, Xbox One, and PC at the moment. So we know how it is. For a game really to be not confirmed or really to be not coming to a system, developers really need to make it clear, especially for Nintendo fans and the Switch, because we have seen this happen before, like with Crash Insane Trilogy from Activision, and of course various other Capcom old ports like Mega Man Legacy 1 and 2, them not localizing Monster Hunter Double Cross, saying not at this time, Capcom also saying no Wakami port, then later confirming the Kami port. So you have that to go by with Capcom's weird way of messaging things, but I will say, technically speaking, that this game does not look possible to run on the Nintendo Switch in that current state that's shown at E3. It will have to be heavily downgraded to run on the Nintendo Switch if it's going to look on par or even close to it on the system. The game looks absolutely amazing. It has some of the best graphics, of course, Capcom has ever produced, and a lot of it looks very similar to the quality of God of War, for example. And obviously we know that God of War is not possible to be run on the Nintendo Switch. So my hope is that since Resident Evil 2 was on the Nintendo 64, it was on the GameCube, and I'm not talking about Resident Evil 1 Remake, I'm talking about the actual Resident Evil 2, 3, Code Veronica. Those games were on the GameCube, if you recall, and re-released on the system. So Resident Evil 2 does have a history with Nintendo, even more so than Microsoft. So my hope is that whatever way possible, Nintendo gets a port of Resident Evil 2 Remake on the Nintendo Switch, whether it's the current iteration of Nintendo Switch or possibly a future iteration of Nintendo Switch, whatever they do in the future, if it's a late port or whatever they can do to get it going on the system. I really think they need this game on a Nintendo platform because Resident Evil 2 has that long history with Nintendo systems, and it just doesn't make any sense for them to be missing out on a game of this caliber. Nintendo absolutely must do whatever they can to get this game on the system, whether if it's helping with funds or whether it's helping them with technical support, whatever they can do. Because of course, as you've noticed, because a lot of these third-party games that were announced at E3 have not been announced for the Switch, and the third-party games that were announced were still, yet again, old ports. So I really hope in 2019 at least some of these games come to the Switch, like this game for example. And it is kind of nice to see that they're not saying no, never, this is not coming to the Switch ever. At least they're saying no, not at this time, and they're focusing on the other consoles at the moment. So will we see a port of this game to the Nintendo Switch, or maybe a future iteration of the Nintendo Switch? I would really like to know your opinion on the matter in the comment section. Do you really want this game on Nintendo systems? Would you really prefer to have this game to be on the go and at home? Or would you prefer this game to be played on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or PC? Personally, I would really love to have this game on the system, and I think Nintendo needs to do whatever they possibly can to get it on the system. I don't care about Capcom, I don't care about their business practices, I don't care if they hate Nintendo, I don't care if they hate the Switch, but I do care about this game. So I really think Nintendo needs to do something and get this game on the console, whatever it takes. Alright guys, so that will do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video.